The attendance was 14,790. The gate was 4.035 million. The performance of the night went to Thiago Santos and Johnny Walker, and the fight of the night was Garbrandt versus Munoz. Those guys all get 50 grand.
Dana, great night of fights. Some controversy, of course, with Ben Askren's debut. It was kind of playing out right in front of you. So just wondering what kind of view you got into that and what you thought of that stoppage.
Bad stoppage. And, you know, we had a debate, me, the referee, and the commission over being choked out. I've been choked out many times before, too. And one of the things that you don't do is jump right up and say, what the fuck did you just do? It never happens that way. That was a bad stoppage. It happens. What are you going to do? It sucks. It was a good fight.
I'll say we've talked to both guys. Robbie said he'd love to run it back. Ben said he passes. He said he didn't want the fight to begin with. He took it, but he doesn't want to do it again. He'd like the Till Masvidal winner, and I think he said he's going to London as well. So
he'd like the what?
He'd like the Till Masvidal winner in London.
We want to do the fight again, so we'll figure it out.
Sounds good. Kamaru Usman, new champ there, looked pretty incredible tonight. Curious what you thought of his performance this evening.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were there at the press conference. Woodley said, what are you going to do to me? I do everything better than you do. So, and I told you guys after the RDA fight, I respect RDA a lot. And I use him as a gauge for guys when they're coming up. And he looked so good in that RDA fight. I knew after Colby turned down that fight that I wanted to do the fight with Usman.
You walked over to Colby with about 2 minutes left in the fight. Obviously, he was caged with his belt and all that. I'm curious what the conversation was with 2 minutes left in the fight, what you had to say to him.
No, there was just, when there was a lot of ruckus going on over there in his area. He almost got into it with Mama Woodley at one point and everything. That was like the third time I'd gone over to him that night. So I just told him, listen, you're going to get this title shot. Don't fuck this up. Just relax. You and all you guys relax. If anything goes down, let our people handle it, and we're going to take you in the back in a little while here and do some interviews. That's all I said to him.
So that's the fight to make then?
Yeah.
And lastly, let's ask about Jon Jones. I mean, it didn't get a finish, but he had a dominant performance. Almost got disqualified. So I'm just curious what you thought of his performance as a whole, and if you had flashbacks of Matt Hamill or something when he's got the...
Yeah, it's always difficult when somebody does that. But it's a weasel move if you try to weasel out of the fight if you're not really hurt and try to win the fight that way. You didn't win the fight. You're not winning the fight. And much respect to Smith for being a stand-up guy like that, because it's a weasel move, and he could have copped out and he could have done it. I think the ref did a good job taking 2 points too. Yeah, and you look at the hand. It was right. Was it? It's one of those things. So much respect to Smith for doing what he did.
Dana, I'm curious if you consider Brock an potential opponent for Jon.
I think that Brock and Cormier want that fight. So I owe Cormier a lot. Cormier wants that fight. Cormier's going to get it.
Okay. What time frame might that be then?
I have no clue. I literally have not talked to Brock at all.
Okay.
He's doing his WWE thing. He's one of those guys, when he's ready, he'll call me. I don't chase anybody around, man. I make fights. And when people are ready to fight, they let me know. And if they're not, we don't talk.
It seems like, as dominant as Jon's been, you used the phrase a lot of times, clean out the division. He's cleaned it out many times over.
Yep,
so there doesn't seem to be a guy that you sit there and say, that's the guy to fight with Jon Jones. So do you push him to heavyweight? Like, what do you do with him to get a...
You don't want to see Thiago Santos fight Jon Jones? No?
No, I didn't say that.
Kevin Ellie doesn't want to see it, but I do.
I didn't answer the question.
Yeah. That means no.
I'd maybe rather see him fight Brock, but that's just me.
You'd rather see him fight Brock than Thiago Santos, right?
I think Brock, we don't need to have a debate here.
All right.
We'll ask questions. Do you see him shortly at heavyweight?
I don't know. He doesn't seem too excited to go to heavyweight. I'm not pushing anybody to do anything. It's like when guys don't want to fight. It's like, what fight I want to see bad? I wanted to see Max Holloway versus Tony Ferguson. But I can't make Tony Ferguson fight. I couldn't make Colby Covington fight when we offered him the fight. I can't make these guys fight. You either want to fight or you don't. Couldn't make, when somebody wants to retire, I don't ever tell them. The only guy I've ever told not to retire was Daniel Cormier. Because I think Cormier's the best right now. I think he's one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. I think he's the greatest heavyweight ever. And I don't think he should retire. That's the only guy I've ever said don't to or ever intervened whatsoever. If you don't want to fight, my advice to you is don't fight.
So, and with Jon, I mean, like he's that kind of guy that it seems like he's such a big star that he rises to the occasion, knocking out DC and the thing. And so that's why I say,
No, you're right.
I'm not sure how he would view Santos, but I know how he would view Brock Lesnar or DC. Yeah. And that's why I say.
I love the Thiago Santos fight. I love that fight. I would love to see him versus Jon Jones. The Brock fight is Cormier's. When Cormier's healthy, that's his fight. And plus, Brock has WWE obligations right now, or believe me, he'd be calling me. So that's the fight to make. I don't look at these fights like, I look at the ones that I have. What do I have available right now?
So one you have available was Ben Askren. The one thing that I just don't understand, he said you won't talk to him. Why won't you talk to him?
Oh, my God. This is crazy.
So he just
it's like Colby Covington thinks I hate him, too. I don't know what I do to make people think I hate him. I don't hate these guys at all. I don't talk. Lene, did I not talk to Ben Askren in the back hall when we were walking out for the thing? It's crazy.
He said he wanted to talk to you for a half an hour and you wouldn't give him 30 minutes of your time.
That dude's nuts. He got punched around a little bit tonight. Did he say it after the fight?
He said that right?
Yeah, he got punched around a little bit tonight. That's crazy. He's never asked me for 30 minutes.
Okay.
Ever.
And then
I've never, ever turned down a fighter that's asked me, can we talk? Never once have I ever turned down a fighter. Even Tito. It's true. Never done it, ever.
And then lastly, Usman came in and talked about, just trying to make an impact, using his platform as the world champion to, help people in Africa and whatnot. Do you think he has that kind of, ability to do that, to make a difference? And will MMA become more of a sport in Africa with you have 3 African fighters that are very big stars in the UFC? Do you think that Africa could be a place where you start to see more fighters come from?
Absolutely, yeah. No, I mean, these guys were telling me that the level of talent out there is insane right now. Israel was saying when you go there and you see these kids that are there, and I imagine because you guys know, most of you guys have been in the fight business all of your lives, and any places that have poverty, some of the hardest people in the world come out of there. So it wouldn't surprise me. And I think the fact is that, probably up until 10 years ago, they probably didn't even know what MMA was.
Hey, Dana, here in front. Curious, what do you make of Johnny Walker? 3 KOs in the UFC. The only time he gets hurt is in the post-fight celebration.
Yeah, this kid's awesome, man. This kid's special. And I think that I wish he would stop doing that shit after. There's no upside to celebrating like that after. The kick worm or whatever the hell that thing is that he was trying to do. It's just unnecessary. You don't need to do it. What you did already was impressive enough without the kick worm. I'm hearing that he's okay. I'm hearing, because it's all I've been terrorizing the medical staff about tonight. They're going to wait till Monday to get him an MRI because he said he was fine. All the symptoms look good after the fight, so hopefully that's true.
He keeps saying he wants to wait a good amount of time before getting kind of thrown into the top contenders, but
this guy wants to fight. This guy wants to fight every weekend, which I love. When you are a rising star and you have the talent that guy has, staying active is the best thing you could do for your career. So, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we're not looking to throw him in against anybody serious anytime soon.
getting back for a second to Ben Askren, outside of the other stuff, was there anything in the cage that impressed you, or what was your thoughts about him actually, his performance?
About who?
Askren.
Askren? Yeah. Well, obviously Askren's tough as nails. Lawler hit him I mean, you guys saw him after. He looked like he got hit by a bus, and that damage was done in the first few seconds of the first round. And he came back. I don't agree with the stoppage, like I said earlier, but it happens. These things happen, and he's a tough guy.
Yesterday, he came over to you at weigh-ins before the face-off, and you extended your hand to shake his hand. He didn't shake your hand. And he was saying something to you. What was that? It was a very strange interaction you guys had. What was that all about?
Shit, I don't even remember. I don't remember what he said, but I don't remember that I went to shake his hand, but he was telling me something in the middle of all of that, and I don't know. I don't remember what he was saying. It was nothing serious, though. Nothing worth telling you guys. I don't even remember. It was nothing serious.
I think he wants you to go back at him more. He wants to start that rivalry.
Yeah, it's not there. It's not there. I don't dislike the guy. I said some shit about him 5 years ago that obviously hurt his feelings really bad. And, this guy talks shit about everybody. I said something about him 5 years ago, and he can't get over it. I do not dislike this kid. I mean, that's why he's here. I brought him in, and, he weathered that storm tonight and hung in there, and he's a tough guy. And I look forward to seeing him fight again.
Last thing for me, Cody Garbrandt is a guy, a year and a half ago, he was a guy that the UFC is pushing very hard, very marketable kid, 3 losses in a row now. What do you think the issue is with Cody?
Yeah, the issue with Cody is, man, he just won $50,000 tonight. I mean, that kid is fun. He's fun to watch, and he got clipped, and he got hurt, and I think he just went into war mode, man. He knew he was hurt. So he said, I need to take him out right now. And he just started bombing, trying to finish that fight. And it was one of the most exciting few minutes of a fight that I've seen in a long time. He's that kid. He gets clipped, he got hurt, and he went into war mode.
Thank you.
Hi, Dana.
Hey, buddy.
Here.
Hey.
I'd like to hear about Thiago Santos. Why do you think Thiago Santos is the best fight for Jon Jones, or a good fight for Jon Jones?
Well, who else do you think should fight him?
I agree with you.
Other than Brock. Kevin Iole wants Brock. Who do you want?
I would prefer Thiago.
Who?
I would prefer Thiago.
Who do you say?
Thiago.
Thiago. Oh, good. All right, we're on the same page then. All right, your question sounded like you wanted me to pick somebody else.
No.
Okay.
Listen,
Thiago looks unbelievable at that weight. He's big. I like his fighting style. And when you put Jon Jones in those type of fights, Jones shines. Jones sort of is one of those guys who rises to the level of his opponent, And Smith is usually a very aggressive guy. But when you you think you know what you're going to do until you actually get in there with Jon Jones and start fighting him. Tonight you saw flashes of brilliance with Jones. Some of the combinations that he put together and threw, I turned around and looked at Zac Efron and said, Jesus Christ, this guy's so fucking good. I mean, you guys had to say it a few times during this fight tonight, man. Some of the shit that Jon Jones threw is ridiculous, And I think that Thiago Santos is the type of guy that's going to come in, be aggressive, move forward, and give you the kind of fight that you're used to seeing Jon Jones in.
And thinking about another Brazilian, how do you see Johnny Walker's future?
So bright. That guy is so talented. He knocked out Misha Serkinov like this, like it was nothing. Set him up for the knee, and it's one of the nicest flying knees you'll ever see. It was incredible. That guy is super talented, and I hope he's okay, and I look forward to seeing him fight again.
Dana, over here, you mentioned Jon sort of rising to the level of his opponent, and
Yep.
in this era of super fights, I mean, is it satisfying for you, sort of looking at the next couple years of Jon's career, playing out as him just taking on the #1 contender in the division? rather than kind of pursuing those super fights?
Let's say that again. What's the
Is
question?
it satisfying when you consider the next couple years of Jon Jones' career for him to just fight the #1 contenders in the division rather than?
Yeah, listen, I think that, Jon Jones wanting to stay in his own lane and continue to pick off the guys that come up behind him, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's normally what people do. I mean, that's the norm in any division, in any fight, whether it's boxing or wherever. But I think that we expect so much from Jon Jones. You want this guy to move over here and do this and fight this guy and all this stuff. I do too. I mean, I would love to make all those kind of fights. But if you look at Jones, everybody was talking about Smith and what a huge underdog he was, and this fight shouldn't even be happening. I mean, nobody gave this guy the credit that he deserves. Smith is a tough guy. So when you see Jon Jones go the distance with a guy like Smith, you're like, eh. Let's not forget, he just knocked out Daniel Cormier. And I told you, I think Cormier is the greatest heavyweight ever, and I think Cormier is one of the greatest mixed martial artists ever. And Jon Jones just knocked him out. So Jones is definitely one of those guys that raises to the level of his opponent. You throw a killer in there with Jon Jones, Jones fights like a killer.
And then just one more quickly, there's been a lot of talk about sort of West African fighters. There are 200 million people in Nigeria. I mean, is that a market that you kind of look at and think that's intriguing?
Yeah, that's a good one. Weird thing, little fact you guys might not know, but for I don't know how many years, we've had a TV deal in Africa, and that's definitely helped build the sport. But the numbers that we pull in Africa are incredible. We've been pulling big numbers there for a long time. So the fact that these guys are crazy talented and guys are starting to pop up left and right, it definitely makes sense.
Hey, Dana.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
What surprised you more, Usman's performance or Woodley's performance?
Woodley. I expected Usman. I like I said, after the RDA fight, Woodley looked less than flat tonight. He looked I don't know. What did he come in here tonight?
Yeah.
And what did he say? What was the reason you have an excuse on why he looked bad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if Woodley was going to come in here and say he was hurt or something happened or something like that happened. But yeah, he didn't look like Woodley tonight. He looked flat. I mean, he completely got out wrestled all night. But I figured this would be what I loved about this fight, and what I thought was going to make it a great fight is that I knew Usman would go after him. Normally Woodley's so fast with his hands, and he's such a good wrestler that most guys can't do both with him. Usman could do both. Usman could wrestle with him, but I didn't expect Usman to go in and absolutely dominate him the entire time wherever he wanted to go. No, I didn't see that coming.
And then last question. Edmund Tarverdian asked me about the performance bonuses, and when I told him who got it, he seemed a little disappointed.
No, you know what? As he should be. As he should be. This is one of those tough nights where you look at Edmund's performance. Diego Zabit and Jeremy Stevens was a good fight. Zhang looked good. If you look at who she beat, and she was ranked number 15, right? She put on a good performance. Pedro Munoz, he's got to be devastated that he didn't get it. But these guys that didn't, and the people that I'm talking about, I'll send them a little extra something too. They didn't get the 50,000, but if you look at who I gave it to, Diego Sanchez, right? Johnny Walker, and Garbrandt and Munoz for the fight of the night. I mean, it's pretty tough to debate.
What'd you think of Shabazian?
I mean, if you look at Usman, Usman just dominated Tyron Woodley for every second of that fight.
Right.
He probably should have, So I'm gonna have to write some more checks.
What did
to
you think
people.
of Shabazian for being 21?
Unbelievable, unbelievable. 9-0, 21 years old, and looked fantastic tonight. He completely shut him down, and you can tell Edmund, relax. He's gonna get some money. I'm gonna send him some money. All right.
Dana, right here. You mentioned Weili Zhang, and what do you see next for her? She's number 15. She got the unanimous against Tisha Torres. I believe Tisha's number 7 right now.
Yeah, I think she's 7. Yep, she came in at 7. So this girl's in the top 10 now. and she looked damn good against Tisha. And Tisha's fast. Tisha moves a lot. Tisha's hard to hit. Tisha's a really good wrestler, too. She looked really good tonight. And when you think about when we went in a few years ago and did the Ultimate Fighter in Japan, the level of talent was very low, but boy, it's moving quick now. And we're building the Performance Institute that we're opening this summer. We're going there in June for the grand opening. 3 times bigger than Las Vegas's. So you're going to see a lot of talent. I'm doing that one. I'm opening 3 in Mexico. I'm going to do 1 in Puerto Rico. And then I'm looking at other territories to open Performance Institutes in. When you guys see what we do in the next 5-6 years, and I say this to you guys, for those of you that have been around for a long time, I feel like every year we take the sport to another level. And we've done impressive things in the last 18 years. I'm going to blow you away with what we do in the next 7. We're literally going to change the entire game, man. I've been working for the last year on a lot of fun shit. And in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to announce some of the things that we're working on. And it's big, it's fun, it's game-changing, and I'm looking forward to it. Good stuff.
Finally, can you give us those numbers again? You came in kind of quick.
Yes, ma'am. The attendance was 14,790. The gate was 4.035 million. Performance of the night was Diego Sanchez and Johnny Walker. And the fight of the night was Garbrandt versus Munoz. All those guys won $50,000. You guys good? No? Yeah, go ahead. Let's get him a mic. Oh, spilt Kevin's Diet Coke.
Thanks, Dana. Just wondering if you have had any rough idea of what you wanted to do next with Tyron Woodley?
I don't know. I think Woodley needs to go, take some time off, spend some time with his family, and he'll call me and we'll figure out what's next for him. It's tough to talk out. I mean, especially after a loss like that, what's next for him? Question is, what does he want to do? Tyron Woodley's made a lot of money. He's done well. So, who knows? Who knows where his head's at and what he's thinking? Thanks, man. Good night, you guys. Have a great weekend.